This is a day that my Father has made. I will rejoice. Jah, I thank you for this morning. Oh, it's a brand new day. Little bird, they thanking as they sing. So let's all get down and pray.
Good night, Teacher the Prof fans. Welcome to another episode of your favorite weekly program. I'm your host, Teach, and with me as usual is my co-host, Prof. Wagwan.
Good night, folks. Good night. Thanks for joining us again. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And once again, we'd like to show appreciation to our new subscribers and our existing subscribers. Thanks for joining us, folks.
Okay.
What are we going to discuss tonight?
Some depressing news developing situation in the United States, specifically in Florida.
Florida.
Yep, where the governor, is the governor, right?
The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, has introduced a new immigration bill. Or new immigration law.
But the law is scheduled to take effect July 1.
Mm-hmm.
However, look like people put it in effect already because
people are already scared.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff is going on in Florida. Illegal immigrants, right? Aliens without documents. And it is causing a disruption in the workforce. So we're going to discuss tonight, take a look at it, a closer look at it, and how it affects Florida, United States, and Jamaicans on the whole. Because there's a lot of Jamaicans that are involved and are affected presently, running up and down the place, trying to find some other state to go. And it affects the bottom line because a lot of those people send money back to Jamaica to help their family. So running scared, running from the law will affect the Jamaican economy as well, the remittance, so we want to take a look at it.
All right, and I know a few people in Florida who are running scared. They're actually leaving Florida. And the other day I got off the train, right? I might stop. And there was a Jamaican guy behind me as we were going down the stairs. And me him say, yeah man, I hope people in Florida call me, Yeah man, I said, I'm going to leave here. So no man, I say, what am I talking about? So I say, what if I talk about stuff I go on with squash? Entertainer, I thought maybe there was a war going on. But so I'm going to the liquor store, me walk up the road, and then he was behind me now. And then he must say, yeah man, brother, say man come save him, but I tell him say, my place full enough. I must say, me saw a squash caught up in night, and Ray, I must say, okay, I talk about this immigration thing. I must say, okay. So apparently, man of Florida call their friends in other states to find accommodation.
Wow.
Because they want to leave Florida. And, we saw protests going on. We saw empty construction sites, empty farms, So, and before we even dive into this thing, so Governor Ron DeSantis has declared himself a candidate this week for president. So he's running for the 2024 presidency.
And I guess this new law for July is supposed to boost his popularity for the 2020.
Yeah, so he's picking fight with everyone.
Yeah.
He's in fight with this, which is a totally different issue, by the way, which we won't touch. I won't touch, certainly. But I think the man might be worse than Donald Trump, in my opinion. This man spent Florida taxpayer money to charter a flight from Texas to take illegal immigrants crossing the border into the United States of America in Texas and flew these people to Boston, Massachusetts.
Nothing to do with Florida. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing to do with Florida. Florida does not have a border crossing. Only immigrants Florida have to worry about is the Cubans,
Asians.
and the Haitians who actually make it that far.
Yeah.
And a handful of Jamaicans who actually.
We're not travel by boat, really. We're afraid of water.
No, some of us do. Yeah, some of us do. But so and right now in New York, New York City is a safe haven. And so what the Republican governor, I'm not straight from the point, but this immigration thing is getting really, really bad. The Republican governor in Texas, and there might be other border states, are busing people, to cities with a Democratic mayor or governor.
Oh, so they're making it, since you're in power, they're making it your problem.
Yeah.
Democrats' problems. Okay.
So there are thousands or hundreds of people coming in daily to New York City.
Just dropping off.
Just dropping them off. Washington, D.C. and Chicago. And there might be others.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to send the people where they want to go. Once you allow them through, and you give them their date to see a immigration judge or whatever it is, you're supposed to send the people where they want to go. Because some people have families. And at the beginning, they're telling people, yeah, we're sending you to X state or city. And the people end up in New York City. Right?
Different agenda. Mm.
Anyway, so yeah, Ron DeSantis, I am afraid of him. That's scared enough. Just afraid, because if he's attacking migrants, right? Legal immigrants. Well, he's truly attacking migrants. He's attacking. They can't teach Black history in schools in Florida. Now, can you imagine if this man is president of the United States of America?
A lot of the Florida
would
be spread across.
Yeah. So he's going to suppress, because he acts as if slavery never. If people act as if slavery, it exists. It happened. People need to know this. Why are you hiding from it? Anyway, let me.
So you teach Columbus, but you don't want to teach slavery.
Right, as if to say, what's the? I digress. Anyway, because that would be a whole different topic.
Yeah, you know that since this news about Florida and the migrants and the illegal undocumented people in the United States, they are running scared. I am familiar with Panama City. That's in the northern part
of Florida.
Northern part of Florida, right? Most northern.
Yeah, Florida Panhandle, call it.
So I'm gonna make some links. Tuesday. What is the situation? Because I'm telling you, for that city to run effectively, it's got to be undocumented people. The hotels, the restaurants, construction sites, those 3 areas mainly, right? My brother him drive a taxi, him straight, and drive a taxi. So I call the man and the 3 o'clock bells and going to 4 and unanswered. Then him call me back and I say, sleep. I say, sleep? Because them time them busy. This is May, going into June. You're supposed to be busy. So I say, oh yeah, sleep on time. So there's nothing to do. So I say, what's going on? Man say, the place mash up. That's his words. The place mash up. I say, Panama City mash up. Mash up. He was a taxi man, him not a passenger. Nobody now go work. So
Nobody afraid.
yeah. Jump was a bomb. And have a friend will link another friend who is there. And the report is that nothing is happening in the city since the announcement.
And why is that? Why is that important? Tell the people why that is important, especially this time of year.
Panama City is a summer vacation location for the United States.
So let me interrupt again. How was it during spring break? Because there are big spring break
And summertime destination. Everybody come down. Everybody come down from all over the states. They come down and enjoy themselves. Some spend days, some spend week.
What Panama City look like during spring break then? Or this all took effect after spring break?
I think it probably affect it in the tail part of it.
Right.
But not because I thought that was April. And the thing came in effect more in May. The run up and down is more in May. They cannot escape that. But May, going into June, the beach would have been full.
Yeah.
And parents would come down with the kids. So it's a family thing. Normally a planting, year-round planting.
So schools are going to be out in a few weeks in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a week or 2. No, actually, schools are going to be out this Thursday in Florida.
In Florida, but some states are out already.
No.
No?
Yeah.
May?
Schools normally give
June, July, and go back August.
Yeah. So they're probably the same time.
Yeah.
They're probably the same time because a lot of down south there's a lot of graduation going on.
But
in the south.
Yeah.
So probably about now, this week.
But what he's saying that the hotels normally have the staff ramp up in preparation for summer.
Right.
And there's no worker.
Yeah, I know some people probably take the kids out of school for vacation earlier. But that's the time they can leave.
Mm-hmm.
They can get off from work to.
Yeah, but there's no worker in the system. Because they are locking up the operators also. I have another friend who made a call after I got the report Tuesday. He made a call to Panama City. And the gentleman I tell him, say, a girl, what them know from St. Thomas, because they come from St. Thomas, she was cashing. She was at the cash register when ICE running.
Oh crap! So they started already.
Yes, that's why they're running scared.
Before July.
Not because you don't have to wait because it is illegal now. So tightening the laws and making the law have more teeth has nothing to do with what the law offers now. So they're going by what the law offers now, right?
Right.
So they're running in the restaurant and she spot them. And she said, somehow she hear the rumors about Florida from, she said, I'm going to carry on, a road t-shirt because she wear the company shirt.
Yeah.
So she put on her personal shirt and then put on the company one over it. And when she see the man them running, she just comes and back off and throw it away and run outside. And just playing as a customer.
Holy crap.
And they took away they caught some of the non-documented, and they took away the manager. She said they took 8 people, including the manager, from that one fast food place.
And do you think the manager is illegal or is it because that he's illegal?
He's employing. I think the July measures. You can read upon it. I think it's going to straighten the charge, maybe.
Yeah, and
aiding and abetting, non-documented people in the workforce.
Yeah, and I think it also do with housing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the housing people. I'm running upon the housing people. Them also. I got that today.
Yeah.
Other source. The owners and operators of the housing system, I tell them to leave because they don't want to get in trouble.
Right. Oh wow. Oh man, this thing is far reaching.
Yes. So the person that my friend spoke to today. No, I get in the report. She spoke to the Wednesday, but I get in the report today that they are looking to go to Alabama or somewhere else.
So they're probably in the course where tourists.
Yeah, Alabama is bordered right on the border of that city. So, yeah, that's just like what you said. They call in New York, asking friends, for accommodation. Everybody's just, and some people don't have no friends, so
right.
They have to follow.
Or they don't have any friends outside the state.
Yeah, just follow somebody. Somebody move into another state, they just keep their finger crossed and move along and hope that they'll find some job and some accommodation over there. But it is unsettling.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this now. Arthur, Republican states will be following suit.
Of course.
Guaranteed, just like the abortion thing.
Of course. It can't be a Florida. Well, the only way to stop it still, unless Florida is deemed to be unsuccessful.
Yes, well, yeah.
Because I think it's gearing up to be unsuccessful because I know this just must have known. Must have done this calculation, and research, and see that Florida, the expansion of Florida as a whole, has a lot to do with who is make up the workforce. What percentage of undocumented make up the workforce? And there's a lot of money saved that way because you pay them less than what they would have paid a documented person. And we are seeing images of construction sites across Florida for the last 2 weeks, empty. Nobody showing up to work. Farms, nobody showing up to work, And now we're hearing about the hotels and the restaurants. Nobody showing up to work. People are afraid that ICE will just run in. The boss is telling the people to stay low because they don't want to get in trouble. So if him keep up this and ICE keep taking the cue from DeSantis with his new measures, Florida will feel it. And I think that will make it deem a failure. And if it fails to a degree, to a high level of degree, I think the other states won't follow.
Well, that's one thing I need to add to what you just said is that the fact that the entire United States of America is reliant on illegal immigrant workforce.
Not only Florida, but the entire.
I don't know what Ron was thinking. I mean, he must have known how reliant Florida is on, and maybe just doesn't care.
All right, I think it's hinged on the election, as we mentioned before, and if he can get the Americans to buy into this as say, yeah, we need this, and
not Americans, the Republicans. Party. The Republican Party. If you can get
Them to rally around that.
around it, if you can look more hardline than Donald Trump and get Donald Trump supporters, he can win.
That's a plan.
And listen, we saw Donald Trump
Use the border.
use a border, do some rash things. When Donald Trump just came in and the border thing, we had illegal immigrants in New York City running scared. ICE was going into these restaurants on White Plains roads.
Trains, buses.
Yeah, so we have seen it in New York where people run scared and people start going to work.
Yep.
The restaurants were empty. So we have seen it.
So this is not something new. This is reinventing the wheel, and it has negative impact before. So why would Ron DeSantis? What he hope to gain from it then? It won't fail in Florida. It won't fail under his watch.
He's very arrogant. He probably think that I don't know what to say, man. But I've never seen. I've lived in this country for
27.
No. No, sir. So on the 13th of June, I will be living in this country exactly 26 years.
But me never far off, brother. That no, sir, make it look. People tell. Drop a line. When they said no, sir.
Because we had a conversation.
No, sir.
We had a conversation. Remember? We had a conversation and I was saying in the next few months you would have lived half of your life in Jamaica.
Yeah, I never remember it.
Okay. But I am reminding you.
Yeah, I never remember it at the time when I spoke to 27. But
I am reminding you.
You make me start thinking, I said, what? 27 is what? It's 23?
27 like a difference.
I couldn't say 26, guys. I said, I'm 23.
So, in my 26 years living in the United States of America, I have never seen any travel warning or advisory being issued for anywhere in the United States of America.
No matter what the situation is.
And the NAACP issued a travel warning for black people traveling to Florida.
Be careful. It's not safe. And what angle did they took in that warning?
Well, I'm reading from the New York Times. The NAACP issued Florida travel advisor joining Latino LGBTQ groups. NAACP urged people to consider Florida's policy on diversity and race under Governor Ron DeSantis when thinking of traveling there. So this was a separate warning, by the way. Separate from immigration issue. So the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People on Saturday issued a travel, and this is published on May 21st, 2023, issued a travel advisory for Florida, saying that under Governor Ron DeSantis, the state has become openly hostile towards African American, people of color, and LGBTQ plus individuals. The NAACP joins the League of United Latin American Citizens, a civil rights organization that issued a further travel warning on Wednesday, and Equality Florida, a gay rights advocacy group that issued one last month. Now, the NAACP travel advisor does not explicitly recommend against travel to Florida, but it urges travelers to be aware of the state's policy, and the organization said that the governor and the state of Florida have shown that African Americans are not welcome in the state of Florida.
Not welcome.
Not welcome.
So there's some hostility going on there in terms of stop and check and questioning and all that stuff that's been heightened. So that's basically, they are telling you to, if you're traveling to Florida, be expected to be, processed.
And they further wrote, the NAACP said in a statement on Saturday that the travel advisory was in direct response to Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempt to erase Black history and to restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion program in Florida schools. Well, yeah. And he actually signed a legislation defunding diversity program at state public universities and blah, blah, blah.
So you come to the airport and...
Oh, what on there? He also cited, the advice also cited concerns with a number of other laws recently passed in Florida regarding voting rights and concealed carry of guns.
Run a fight a lot of battles, the whole parliament.
Battles, man.
A lot of fires. Wow.
And he called it a stunt because I heard that he made a statement and he called it a stunt.
Explain that. The statements by the media is a stunt. His action is a stunt.
No, the NAACP advisor is a stunt.
Oh, it's a stunt.
That's what he said.
So, him not get no real weight.
No.
Okay.
Because it's a joke.
Them can't stop that train.
You know, so I heard, and I don't know true it is because it's coming from social media, and I didn't get a chance to actually verify. But I read somewhere where it said that even Uber driver can ask for your ID.
Your status?
Yes. I was like, is that real? I take an Uber, and Uber just say, let me see a passport. Are you an American citizen? Can I see your ID?
Imagine the Karens in Florida.
What? Jesus. Because, in New York City, right? In New York State, you can still get an ID even though you're a legal immigrant. But you cannot do that in Florida.
They usually give 6 months. According to your you usually can get it. I know Orlando give it up to a check from your landing and 6 months back, and expired up to your 6 months in the country, legal in the country on your passport, your visa.
They might change that.
I don't know the status on that now, but I know that up to 2018, you could go in, they take your passport, look at your visa, and check 6 months after your landing, and expire your Orlando or Florida ID. So honestly, people used to use that for, instead of carrying their passport around, used to use that, and you use that for changing paychecks and stuff like that. I know the banks used to, a certain bank in Florida, I won't even name the state, they know the system. They understand the importance of the undocumented person, and they would open an account and allow your salary to go through it, and you have access to your money, and you feel you move with, you don't have any, they call it social security. They know that, and they allow you to go around the system and make your life easier and accommodate you, because they understand that you play a role in the system.
I'm sure that doesn't exist anymore.
Well,
but all right. So here's an article from NPR, right? And the headline says, "Why Florida's new immigration law is troubling business and workers alike." So they say pressure is growing for a boycott of Florida, including Latino truck drivers who vote to stop deliveries across the state, and the calls for an immigrant labor strike on June 1st, which was yesterday. I'm not sure if
is it that, because I know that they were planning it.
I know they're planning. I have not been on social media for the past few days, so I'm not sure. On June 1st, businesses are pledging to shutter their doors for the day to protest Governor Ron DeSantis' sweeping new immigration law. For years, the Republican presidential hopeful has railed relentlessly against U.S. immigration policies and newly arrived asylum seekers. Senate Bill 1718, which takes effect on July 1st, will offer a preview of the controversial changes DeSantis has said he'd like to see Congress, and he's talking about the U.S. Congress, implement. So he's sticking up this. So he's sticking broad, wide. Amongst its provision, the strict new state legislation limits social services for undocumented immigrants, allocates millions more tax dollars to expand DeSantis' migrant relocation program, invalidates driver's licenses issued to undocumented people by other states. Remember I tell you New York does that?
Yep.
And requires hospitals that get medical dollars to ask for a patient immigration status. So you get sick, you go to the doctor, you get pregnant, you go to the doctor, have the baby, hospital had the baby. But the most worrisome measures for businesses and undocumented immigrants alike are the host of penalties for those who violate new employment mandates. Supporters say it will help expel the recent influx of immigrants, I guess ones coming across the border, stave off future arrivals, and provide more job opportunities to citizens who don't want to work anyway. So what am I talking about?
No go so.
No go so. There's no Americans who want to go in the hot sun on a construction site or go picked.
But it happens.
Handful.
It happens the last 2 weeks in Florida when the man say, all right, a farmer say, all right, people who are documented come in. One man say, what? Can he leave lunchtime? One man say, if they expect you to work in that sun, and not come back. Them just pop through somewhere on the last hours. Cannot manage. Not doing it.
Okay. Provide more job opportunities to citizens, which is a joke, as I mentioned, and others in the country lawfully. Critics say it will cost the state billions in lost revenue, while many of the harshest penalties are unlikely to be enforced. So it says, here's a look at the key provision of the law and how they may impact the state's economy. There is an E-Verify requirements, right? What the law says is to crack down on businesses Hiring Undocumented Workers, SB 7018, will require private employers with 25 or more employees that are making new hires to use E-Verify. You know what E-Verify is?
Electronically verified.
So E-Verify, there's a website for E-Verify, right? And that's run by USCIS, right? Because I've used it.
The link to ICE?
Yeah, I've used it in my work, right? Basically, everybody that's been hired have to provide. These are documents you have to provide. An American passport, right? That you're a US citizen, or that you're a US citizen. If you don't have an American passport, you have to provide
Green card.
a birth certificate. No, if you're a US citizen, no. A birth certificate and a state ID or driver's license, right?
And all three prove that you're a citizen.
No. So if you provide a passport, a US passport, you don't need to provide other documents.
Right. And that will prove that you're a citizen.
If you provide a birth certificate
That will prove that you're a citizen.
and a green card, that will prove that you're legally. But if you provide a birth certificate and a state ID, you're a citizen, right? If you're a legal immigrant, you can then provide your green card and I think a green card alone. Because that's an ID. And that's it. So you have to provide these documents. And that's E-Verify. So you enter this information in, right? They already have this information. And so when you enter all this information in with the expiration date, the document number, right? You hit E-Verify. It will tell you if the person is clear to work in the United States of America, right? And when all this information you enter, right, you also have to enter the person email address. So the person have to give you an email address, right? So if there's an issue with the person being verified, they themselves will then reach out to the person. And you also have to let the person know that, hey, your E-Verify did not come up clear.
And as a result, you cannot be employed.
And you need X, Y, and Z more document. And you can also provide your social security as well. Oh, so with a green card order, you have to provide social security and a green card. Yeah. So all of these documents are government documents, are state documents. So there's no way an illegal immigrant, unless that person procured those documents illegally, can work then. Because every employee
they are required to use this process.
Is gonna have to go through E-Verify. And normally, people who use E-Verify are people that have government contracts. They do government contracts. Or you're dealing with healthcare information, patient information, HIPAA. So you have to use it.
So it was only a limited group.
Yeah, can you deal with sensitive
across everybody.
Yeah. Now everybody uses it.
Yeah, and yeah, when it was implemented for a special group, I'm sure that they went at length to justify the implementation and assure you, no man, this was just because of that, it won't be used as a widespread. Everything implemented started that way.
And E-Verify is instantaneously, you get a result instantly. If me have an American passport, I mean enter the information on my American passport in the system, I mean hit E-Verify.
Clear.
If the picture But they in my passport,
Come up.
come.
Wow.
And the person have to provide you with a picture and passport, you know. And you took a copy of the passport, you know, right? And so you have to compare the picture. Like it tells you, know. You enter information and you bring on the picture. It says, does the picture match what you're looking at?
So it's speaking to the employer. Okay.
Yeah, it tells me is the same picture where you're on the screen, same as what you're looking at that they provided with. And it's always exact picture. Every time.
So if you change your passport and get a new picture, it's got to update it. This is
It's updated. It's a government website that updated. So I have to use E-Verify, the federal online database that employee use to confirm whether someone is eligible to work in the US. What the potential impacts are. Businesses advocates across the state are concerned. Samuel Vilches Santiago, Florida Director of the American Business Immigration Coalition, an advocacy group for immigration reform that benefits businesses, told NPR's Weekend Edition Sunday that the change will likely have significant impact on Florida's agriculture, construction, and hospitality sector, which are the ones we just mentioned. These are industries where immigrants make up the vast majority of workers, and not allowing businesses to be able to utilize these workers will have a really big impact on our economy and their ability to create jobs. That's a big problem for Florida, where there's already a widespread labor shortage and unemployment rate is low, just 2.6% in April.
So where's the clamoring for the jobs?
Right?
So even with the non-documented immigrants, there's a labor shortage
Already. There's been a wave of videos on social media showing images of vacant construction sites and fruit and vegetable fields where harvests remain unpicked and rotting. According to the video narrator, the job sites have been abandoned by people who fear the new bill E-Verify requirements.
So is it that some of these jobs, they start to implement the E-Verify even before July 1?
It's possible. Just like there's rates. Because I think this bill was signed this bill was 7080 bill was signed on the 10th of May 2023. So enforcing the hiring rule, what the law says. Florida's Department of Economic Opportunity will be responsible for enforcing the E-Verify requirement. And DeSantis has touted new harsh penalties for employers who violate it. A graphic on the governor's website states that employees who fail to use E-Verify will be fined $1,000 a day.
So it will flag them.
Yeah. For workers, it will be a felony to use a false ID to get a job. What the potential impacts are. But a closer look at the legislation clarify that these penalties apply only after an employer fails to use a database 3 or more times within 2 years. In those instances, the DEO can also suspend applicable business licenses until the employer provides proof of compliance. As well, the agency does not have a robust enforcement section. According to the Florida Policy Institute, and creating new position to oversee the provisions would result in significant cost. So while he's implementing these changes, they don't have anyone to enforce it. and it's going to cost them money to hire people.
But ICE is active in the meantime.
Yeah, but
Nobody active.
ICE then they would have to hire more ICE agent.
Yeah. Because the demand is greater. Yeah.
The Cato Institute, a libertarian think tank, found that other states, including Arkansas and Arizona, which have passed similar E-Verify mandates, are widely ignoring the mandate. In Arizona, two-time offenders of the law face a permanent revocation of the employee's license at the location in question, essentially shutting it down for good. But as of 2015, 7 years after E-Verify became mandatory in 2008, prosecutors have charged only 3 businesses, according to the study. The study also found that the E-Verify requirement doesn't achieve what lawmakers set out to do. It doesn't significantly decrease the employment of unauthorized workers nor deter unlawful immigration. One reason is that people who are undocumented often work under the table to avoid a paper trail altogether, which is true.
Yeah.
Another is that E-Verify doesn't match against death records, so they can buy dead paper.
Yeah.
So some people are able to dupe the system by using social security numbers belonging to deceased people.
Yep. And when them do that, them pay child support on the deceased people. Somebody.
It's a possibility.
We know somebody.
We won't say more, my friend. Redefining human smuggling. What the law says. Under the new law, so even if I combat human smuggling, under the new law, a person who transports into further someone they know or should have known is an immigrant who has not been inspected by our authorities could be charged with a felony for human smuggling. So if you have a cousin, I live with you illegally.
Yeah.
Who is illegal, living with you?
Felony for you, the citizen.
You could be in trouble.
Yep. Human trafficking, human smuggling.
So that's why I mentioned Uber driver now. Because listen, a person who is found transporting fewer than 5 immigrants on their first offense could be charged with a 3rd-degree felony. I wonder if that's where that's coming from.
No, the Uber driver them get scared and want to verify you.
Yeah.
To avoid that scenario.
They can be sentenced to up to 5 years in prison per person or pay a fine of $5,000 per count, which is per person, with penalties increasing dramatically for a subsequent offense or for transporting more people or children. Even transportation. So let's say, for instance, sometimes you pick up, people do pick up football game. You go pick up a brethren them, go to the park, play some football.
Or you at the park and man leave and some people on the ride and you off a ride home.
The police stop you. Show me documents.
Yeah, careful if I go to the man and say, who straight and who are going, what the status? Nobody not do that.
What the potential impacts are.
So they must say the onus now is on you, the citizen, to know your passengers, know your friend status, know your relative status. Wow.
So they say what the potential impacts are. This provision was among the most hotly contested and will likely face strong legal challenges because it's so poorly written, Attorney Evelyn Wise told NPR. As someone who has practiced immigration law for many years, I am not exactly sure what the law means by inspected, she said. Wise noted that Republican lawmakers failed to define the term in the Florida bill and that it deviates from federal immigration laws. Without clarification, she said, legislators have created a situation that could lead to tens of thousands of people being falsely arrested and possibly detained. That's causing a lot of fear for mixed status family, for mixed status groups of friends, Wise added. The Florida Policy Institute estimates that there are 130,000 U.S. citizens in Florida who are married to undocumented immigrants. It is conceivable that under the law, a U.S.-born spouse traveling from out of state could be charged with a third-degree felony for transporting a husband or wife into Florida.
Yep.
Similarly, farm workers who travel together or with family could also be charged. Again, this is where the Uber thing coming from.
Yeah, they're protecting themselves. And it's understandable. Somebody wants to spend 5 years because they fail to know the status of the passenger.
Or spend thousands of dollars. $5,000 per person, or 5 years per person.
For 5 or fewer. But we can say it's unsustainable. What will the Republican and the Florida citizens of Florida says? That's what matters, you know. How the reaction of the citizens of Florida, each community in Florida, how will they push back, if they're going to push back at all? Because only they can allow Ron to have a second look and stall the implementation coming in a month's time. And if they give him the mandate and him get a good turnout and a good challenge in 2024, that is we're saying to the rest of the country that, look, this is the way to go. And in New York soon you see the only governor name. Oakley. He will start. She start twinkle with and tinkering with these thoughts. Now, Ron is the same guy that ran against a black guy in a Democratic guy some time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that race. And they put some. He basically lost because they were campaigning against him with this ticketing, basketball thing. That same guy with his brother. Some ticket, he accept ticket from somebody.
Probably. Oh, so the New York State Governor is Kathy Hochul.
I remember this race match. I remember the race. How some people probably sorry that Ron was one that and them never come vote. And that's why people must exercise them right, you know.
Yes.
Because when you don't exercise their right, no, you leave it to the people who exercise their right to select somebody or elect somebody to make decisions that affect you. So I hope this is a lesson, you know, even if you don't see the good or the greatness in somebody, in the candidates, choosing the better of the two evil is important. Because the difference in the evil could be targeted at you. You could be the target because that person won. So, you know.
So I found something on the Florida.gov website, flgov.com.
Mm-hmm.
So today, Governor Ron DeSantis signed Senate Bill 1718 to combat the dangerous effect of illegal immigration caused by the federal government's reckless border policies. This legislation makes using E-Verify mandatory for any employer with 25 or more employees, imposes enforceable penalties for those employing illegal aliens, and enhances penalties for human smuggling. Additionally, this bill prohibits local government from issuing identification cards to illegal aliens, invalidate ID card issued to illegal aliens in other states, and requires hospitals to collect and submit data on the cost of providing health care to illegal aliens.
Yeah, basically reiterating what we read earlier and confirming it.
Yeah, but they're making so he's a champion,
Mm-hmm.
and he's combating the
Mm-hmm.
federal government.
And that's what I said before. How wide will this support be at the end of the day? Will determine whether the laws stand or not. And if Florida stands strong on this, it will affect New York tomorrow.
Oh, hear this part. Provides, so here's another part of the bill that I'm just now seeing. Provides 12 million to continue the unauthorized alien transport program to relocate illegal immigrants to sanctuary jurisdiction. And so he's talking about sanctuary jurisdiction states like Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, or Illinois, And there's a bus and a plane next to it. So he's going to use Florida taxpayer dollars, 12 million, to do this.
So, and the states that you've just mentioned are more democratic run states. These are run by governors, democratic governors, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want them. It's not my problem. I'm going to make it your problem. Since your border policies encourages them to come in, it's going to be your problem. You deal with I ship them out from Florida, and it be your problem in New York. So you got some more people on the train, man. Homeless.
No. No. It's funny that you should say that because I have already seen an increase in so normally in New York subway system a lot goes on, right? I'm typing something.
Yeah, man, go
on. So normally on the New York subway system, there's panhandlers, people who beg, right? There are entertainers, people who dance, sing, play instrument for money, and then there are people who sell, whether they're on the platform or on the train, right? And for the past month, I have noticed an increase in people selling, and they're selling candies, chocolate. They start out selling chocolate, now they sell everything. Chocolate, gums, and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's an increase, right? But I noticed that the people who are now selling, and I could be wrong, they're migrants. They don't speak any English whatsoever. Chocolata. Right? Chocolata. They don't speak any English at all, right? These are mostly women. As a matter of fact, from what I've seen, it's all women and kids. And they are Hispanic. And I'm not judging and not being biased. I'm telling you what I see. And so I think there are immigrants because there is an increase. A lot. Right? And they're always women and kids. And they're always Hispanic. Right? And sometimes I see women with kids strapped to the back. Selling And I think they are because I've never seen them before. Never.
You have to keep your eyes on it because if the reports are true, it's supposed to get worse.
So there's an increase, and we are running out of space in New York City. We're in crisis right now because of these Republican governors. And they're treating people like they're chattels or shuttles. So apparently 5 states have been supporting sanctuary policies, including California, Hawaii, New York, Vermont, and Washington. Four states have proposed legislation that would either prohibit or support sanctuary policies, including Colorado, Massachusetts, Illinois, and Tennessee. Did I mention Oregon? Oregon is also a sanctuary state.
You mentioned 5.
No mention California, Hawaii, New York, Vermont, and Washington.
Washington, yeah, those.
And then 4 states support sanctuary policies. Colorado, Massachusetts.
Them not implement nothing though. They must support it, but them not implement.
Yeah. And they're not going to turn you back. Illinois and Tennessee, and then I see Oregon.
Okay. How you feel personally with all of this? When it's said and done as a citizen of the United States. And I don't want to feel it as a Democrat, but as a citizen of the United States. Not specific Democrat, but a citizen.
As a human being.
Yeah.
As a Jamaican. As someone who know people who have come to this country illegally, whether family members and friends.
And make it.
Right, and make it. They are hardworking people. They pay their taxes. They're now U.S. citizen.
Contribute.
They have businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They have a house. They have family. I have no problem with that. As long as you're not breaking the law in sense.
Yeah, and that's a separate argument because we have people get filed for, go through the process, enter the United States legally, and are criminals.
Workless.
So we treat criminals as criminals, no matter how they got there.
Right.
Yeah.
And these people have contributed to the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, as long as they're not breaking any law, they're not selling drugs, they're not smuggle, I have no problem at all. I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I have no problem because people think that illegal, because you're an illegal immigrant, you're bad.
Bad, yeah.
Because it just sounds like a dirty word.
And it's all portrayed in the media and by the politicians who are anti,
immigrants.
Yeah.
And they call them rapists.
You're going there.
Yet, this is a country this is a country of immigrants. God, none of we never born here, except for the American Indians.
And for
all immigrants.
And for the Mexican, they're just coming back home because they were there before.
In some states,
yeah.
All those states south.
Yep,
Texas, California.
Texas. Mm-hmm.
And see those people?
New Mexico.
Their ancestors came here illegally because they had no paperwork. They just came here, got off the boat, that was it.
Yep. They were uncomfortable in Europe They were unwanted in Europe, and they were seeking.
They were being prosecuted in Europe. And so they came to this country seeking asylum as well.
And look at they now. Get back to your country. Go back. Why you don't go back to where you come from?
As if this is their country originally.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And because of that mindset, we are here. We are where we are today. Because they still, in 2023, you have some Americans in politics and leadership that does not see a migrant as important and a contributor to the economy and the country at large. They just don't see it.
Take a perfect example. What happened to the UK after Brexit?
They hide their documents, try to burn it, and then subsequently, in more recent time, try to send them up.
But here's what happened. After Brexit, right, a lot of migrants went back home. They had no lorry drivers to deliver anything, whether it was goods, gas. They had long lines for gas. Long lines for gas. The shelves were empty in supermarkets. Who are these drivers? Immigrants, migrant workers. They had fields of food rotting because they had no migrant workers to work those fields.
Because they were making them uncomfortable.
Now, because of Brexit, these migrant workers could no longer move freely between states, countries.
As they are no longer Europeans.
You're right. They're not part of the European.
So it's Europe and Britain.
Yeah, no, they're no longer part of the EU.
Yeah.
And these are the countries, the England, the US, the Spain,
The France,
Portugal, the France, the Belgium,
the Italy,
Italians, the Dutch, who colonized the world, who uproot people
and
took them all over the place.
it's the Portuguese that come up with the idea there. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, they were the biggest, but they started it and other people perfected it.
And look what's happening in Africa.
Yeah.
They rape the country.
All the wealth.
And they are still doing it today. You heard of Russian private army? Russia private army?
Mm-mm.
In Congo, in what their country? Central country again. Central African Republic. Central African Republic.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the name of the group. Right? They are Russians. They're providing the president with protection and, of course,
Against?
one people. Right? These guys are Russian mercenary groups. Right? They're called the Wagner Group. Right? And they're providing president of this country protection and with stabilizing the country. And for payment, They pay themselves, you know. The country doesn't pay them. They pay themselves. Year them pay themselves. By stripping the country of gold, diamond, and other precious materials. While the people working these mines are very poor. Very, very poor. I saw a video the other day. I was like, they're still giving it to Africa.
Once you're still one of the richest, it's going to be the target.
And the response from the government is that the West have it wrong. The Wagner Group have helped them to stabilize the country. And they're overstating things. Oh, and so the reporter who brought the story, he reached out to the president, right? And this was like 2 days ago on Today, ABC show. And I'm going to share something. I'm going to share my screen because we're going to do this live. Then when I can see the screen. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Dude, the man threatened the reporter, you know. You can see the video, right?
Yeah.
What's it like for you, as the director here,
So that's the
to
reporter.
see all these cases?
Ça nous gêne.
It upsets me, she says.
Yeah, here?
Mothers don't have money to buy food, and the children fall into this state. They are young victims of Africa's resource curse. Desperately poor people living on land with vast untapped wealth. Here, it's gold and diamonds, but they're not lifting people out of poverty. Much of the riches are now flowing to Russian mercenaries from the Wagner Group. Russia's private army, known for its brutality in Ukraine. Wagner is led by Yevgeny Prigozhin, President Putin's former caterer turned commander. In Ukraine, Wagner fights for the Kremlin. It makes its money here. According to 2 Western diplomats, Wagner extracts $500 million a year from this country in gold, rare timber, and blood diamonds. This woman, who asked us to conceal her identity for her protection, lived near the village of Indasima, where her husband was a gold miner. She told me how Russian mercenaries drove the villagers away.
They were beating people, whipping people, and chasing them away.
When her husband and 7 others refused to leave, they were executed.
What do you think the Russians wanted? Gold? You think it's as simple as that?
Yes, they came for our wealth and for our gold. Today, my children don't have a father. They don't have anything at all.
Working with the research group The Century, NBC News reviewed more than a dozen allegations of Wagner violence, including at Indasima. This was Indasima in 2019, before the Russian takeover. An image taken this month shows the mine has expanded dramatically, now capable of generating untraceable profits. Wagner was invited into the Central African Republic by the government to help crush a rebellion. The government quickly became dependent on Russian support. Wagner even provides the personal security for the president.
Mr. President, it's a real pleasure. Richard Engel, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What do you say about reports that allege that the Russian forces who you brought in to help secure this country have committed abuses?
Listen, we are a responsible government and there are laws in this country. We have set up a commission of inquiry to see if the facts reported in these reports are true.
The government relies on Wagner to survive. Wagner pays itself in gold. The people are left starving. We reached out to Prigozhin, and he responded with a voice note, calling our questions provocative and saying in part, quote, "You've received enough information. If by asking these questions you intended just to spit at me, then I suggest you come closer. And after that, try to figure out if it's your throat in my hands or someone else's." Craig?
Dear God. All right. Important reporting. Our chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel. Richard, thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
We talking about practicing good financial strategy by cash backing.
You're not
What you
seeing my
think I
screen,
was talking
right?
about?
Huh?
Not a game.
You're not
Not
seeing
a
my
game.
screen
Talking
anymore.
about cash back.
I'm still-
Cash back. Cash back like a pro with Chase Freedom Unlimited. How do you cash back?
You still not see it?
Yeah.
I thought I said stop sharing. Oh.
Still sharing. Now you stop.
I don't know if you want to cut this out. You can cut it out.
Let's keep it.
Eh?
I thought to the viewers, keep it or cut it. Edit it. You know much freedom I see people say, you gotta edit it out, edit it out. But still I see it, somebody said, damn, don't edit it.
Yeah, so the people them still screw Africa. You know, the US do it, Canada. Well, I don't know much about Canada, but the US, England,
Everybody run through, man.
Spain, France. The wealthiest country in the world with the most resources is the continent of Africa.
When we get it right there, that we can protect our own and start build on it for the benefit of the people of Africa. Yes, we have a customer outside of Africa. We supply them for a profit, and we use the profit to, build the country. That's how it's supposed to be run. Not for someone to come in and exploit it and move all the wealth out and leave nothing, segregation.
Have you ever heard of Mansa Musa?
So familiar.
He was the richest man in the world. And I forgot what century he ruled part of Africa. I read about him a long time ago. But he once made up, he was a Muslim, he converted, and he once did a pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm.
And everywhere he went, every town or city that he passed through, he left wealth. I mean, he conquered them.
But he lived a stream of the development followed him.
Some he did conquer, some, but everywhere he went, he left wealth.
Yeah, I heard it, yeah.
This was a black man.
Yeah. That's not the white man's doing, though. Jamaica benefits somewhat. We see some schools, but much more could have been done.
When you say benefit in what way?
No, well, there's some institutions and, built by during the British rule, we still have them today.
Okay.
But that's such a drop in the bucket of what could have, been achieved, drop in the bucket, because we needed more schools than what they offered.
Right. Much more.
So they were being selective, and it's only the privileged and close people to these institutions as Africans would get in. But when they left, the institution was there as building. Yes, so we inherited the building. But we were so far behind the 8 ball that now we'd have to get the teachers, the system in place. And it set us back again because there was no continuity. Right. And that's because we weren't really a part of it. It's just a vacuum that was created. And we filled that vacuum because they left.
Right, yeah.
It was just a drop in the bucket, but...
Yeah, they come and they rate the land. They made millions off of sugarcane, banana.
Mm-hmm. But white man's world, and it was a black man's world, where they will lost the plot. We hear so much different stories. Here say a curse will get cursed.
We Jamaicans.
No, black people.
Black people.
Yeah.
Why we ended up being slaves?
Yeah. We were cursed. But I think we're all just outfoxed. Because we were once, according to some history, the slave owners.
Yeah, so that's actually what happened. We were slave owners. We enslaved our own. We conquered these villages and cities, and we enslaved the conquered. And then the white man came, and he offered guns and
swords,
or whatever it is, in return for your slave.
The slave,
you gave him, because guess what? You saw these slaves as your enemy. You conquered them. They're the enemy. No problem. Have them. Until you run out of slaves and they started taking you as slaves.
You as well, yeah. Because each tribe saw each other as nobody. You're not me. You're not valuable. So to give you away was very easy.
Which is what happened with in Rwanda with the Huts and the Tutsi. People were killing their own, and it seemed as it was nothing. It's like you're killing an alien and not a man with the same color as you, all because you're from a different tribe.
And they are indoctrinated early because you see young boys with some gun were bigger than them. So for you're born learning to eat.
Yeah.
So in the end, you reach 12, 13, 14, you killed one of them over the so I don't know.
The enemy. You did good.
Yeah, we did good at doing bad.
So yeah, I know. Yeah, we started it, but
and we have to finish it, because the white man now finish it for. Trust me.
We're not unified enough though.
I see good signs though. Slow, but I see good signs.
I saw good signs until I saw that video today.
Wow.
As I saw that video this week, and I was like, this shit is still happening. On a wide scale. And this is a country now. This is a country. It has taken this country a long time to get the shit together.
Is that one of the smaller countries in Africa, right?
Yeah, it's small. It's landlocked. It's bordered by Chad to the north, Sudan to the northeast, South Sudan to the southeast, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo to the south. And the Republic of Congo to the southwest. And then Cameroon to the west. So there's a lot of countries that borders it. There were once a French colony as well.
Hmm.
You know what that goes?
One of the worst. Trust me. In Africa, French is one of those
No,
poor.
you know, Belgium is worse.
Yeah, I said what up, but yeah, I think Belgium leads France.
Belgium, France is really bad.
Hmm.
French, or the Belgians. What is it, King Leopold or whatever it is? Mm-mm-mm.
Africa unite. But the talk of the leaders change, the tone change, the posture of the leaders change, and the people change. So that's good. And as slow as it may seem, I think it's heading in the right direction. We'll continue to watch the progress of the Russians, and and see how the other leaders will speak against it, and draw awareness to the leader of that country to send them back. Draw your support from your neighboring. Look how much people you called a while ago. Your neighboring country mates, Africans, for that. We have done poorly with Europeans coming in for and saying that they're helping us, and we never receive that help. Yeah, help on the short term, but long run,
No, you pay more. You pay a bigger price.
higher purchase.
And yet, some of that.
Purchase. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, your other countries that bother you couldn't help with your turmoil or whatever's going on.
The trust factor still exists among African nations. They trust the white man still over their own.
And all these countries at the border, right? So, Chad. All right. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, France. Republic of the Congo, France. Cameroon, France. Chad, France. I'm not sure about Sudan.
I think you have two different Sudan.
Yeah. So you have Sudan, they have South Sudan.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, there are one country.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who colonized
them. Yeah, Sudan. But
yeah.
Cameroon is French.
Cameroon is French. But you know, Cameroon also speaks English.
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to see who colonized, because the only country in Africa that colonized was
Ethiopia. Ethiopia was mainly the landmass of Africa was mainly Ethiopia. There is east sides and besides it, and split it up.
It looked like England United Kingdom may have a hand in Sudan and in Sudan. Or it might have been under Egypt. Look at it colonized by Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
It looks that way.
Egypt.
Yeah, because it says under Turco-Egyptian rule after 1820s, the practice of trading slaves was entrenched along a north-south axis. From the 19th century, the entirety of Sudan was conquered by the Egyptians under the Muhammad Ali dynasty. In 1899, under British pressure, Egypt agreed to share sovereignty over Sudan with United Kingdom as a condominium. So I guess after 1899, they shared?
No.
In the UK? Anyway, I know we strayed away from Florida.
Whoa.
And we swam across the Atlantic.
Whoa.
And we ended up in Africa.
Yeah. That's why because we talk about native. A native took us to Europe. And then they took us to Africa. And they can secure surely and without doubt say that they are natives. You know, somebody else can claim that Africa. But
so, in closing, what do we have to say to folks in Florida? Well, for me, it's time that we unite. It's.
And when you say unite, who are we bring together?
I'm talking about immigrants. I'm talking about people from the Caribbean. I'm talking about people from Central America, South America, right? Let's hit them where it hurts, in the pocket, right? Let's boycott Florida. I hope something happened yesterday. I'm gonna have to get back on social media and check my feed and see
the impact.
The impact of it, what transpired. But listen, let me tell you something, man. If you stand aside and you do nothing, it might not just be illegal immigrants today. It might be something else.
It could be.
It could affect
legal immigrants, just legal immigrants, as long as you're deemed not to be originally from.
Right. It could affect you. No one is safe. Let's put it that way.
And there's everything that is implemented that is bad started somewhere, and it's never ever started somewhere bad. So it always has a shade of okay to it until it morphs into something, because the intent behind it is always unknown until they reveal the true colors and the true intent. So we have to watch it, and the minute you see that something affect a brother, just oppose it.
Because there could be an ulterior motive.
Of course.
So let's not just sit and put our arms and say, let me throw our one.
And I hope that the unity on the political front as well, with the Democrat and the Republican, they can see it as Americans and say, this is not good because we need this. It's my man implementing it, and not because it's my party and my side is implementing it. It means that it's good and I have to stand for it, even though I know that it's bad. It's time people can look at their governor that they voted for and say, no, it's not going to help me as a Republican. It's not going to help my family as a Republican. It's not going to help my job as a Republican. It's not going to help my neighbor. So why? We must can stand for something. And as the saying goes, if we don't stand for something, we fall for anything. And this is something that you don't want to fall for. So do not fall. Fight against it. Unite against it. Let him feel it and see that this can't work in playing Caribbean.
Yeah, and every immigrant knows an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
Every one of it.
Are a once illegal immigrant.
Are once.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see how hard these people worked and what they had to go through to become either legal resident or American citizen.
Just remember, man.
It's not easy.
Just remember, man. Not because you reach, you're not going to support.
Right.
Come up the ladder. Just remember, no. Yeah, I beg you.
Remember.
Yeah, man. And that note, we got to leave it here. Our heart goes out to those who are
affected,
and on the run, and sleeping and watching, because
Are afraid to leave your house.
they just think that people can run in at you at any time. And all that plan, because a lot of undocumented people, they have a plan. So, and they have mouths to feed, especially back in their native, where they were coming from. So, we don't want just readily box food out of people's mouth just because, Let us analyze and say, as I said before, all Americans, most Americans apart from the Native Americans, were once illegal immigrants. We were once undocumented, and some of them even further than that, but we won't go into that, because some of them take life so that they can stay there.
Yeah, man. Some of them are, what is immigrants coming over from Europe, rapists, killers, prisoners.
Yeah.
They weren't all God-fearing, loving people. No, they weren't.
The Mexicans had to retreat and give up the land. They were tired of dying. And those people are now heroes of America who did that. So, know your history and let your history build your conscience, and let your conscience see the situation in a better light. So, in wrapping up, what's your reminder, sir?
Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And again, thanks to our new subscribers. Let's grow the movement. All right, folks, and have a wonderful weekend.
Movement. Yeah, I love that. Good night, folks.
Good night.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share our videos. And don't forget to comment
and hit that notification bell.
This has been another episode of Teach and the Prof.